Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So tonight, I want you guys to pay attention to not only Bitcoin, but these other crypto projects, significant developments about them. And I'm talking about Cardano, Polygon, even Cosmos, right? Several big developments. Oh, and let's not forget Binance too. So let's get started. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me, of course, on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com and check out all of my channels, and I have a big update on one of them soon. All right, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oops, I got to fix that. Hopefully, you guys are doing okay. Today, kind of non-moving day. Looking at the markets tomorrow, tomorrow's kind of even. Today it was actually an okay day. I take that back. Today was an okay day, recovery day. But tomorrow, let's see. I think overall the market is kind of waiting, right? Waiting for this one guy to talk about what's going to happen with inflation, with rate hike, all that stuff, right? So I've mentioned this. Noah, big super chat. Thank you. Thank you. Always appreciate your support, man. I've talked about this, whenever he doesn't speak for a while, the markets get anxious. They want actually him to speak. This month, we actually have no set FOMC meeting, right? And that should be a good thing. But now people are like, oh, what does Powell go say, right? So I think the market's just waiting, right, to see what he says about what they're going to do and whether or not it's going to be worse or better than expectations, really. That's what it's coming down to. We have some earnings this week. We have some other economic data this week, but really all eyes are on what Powell is going to say on Friday, and that's really going to dictate the coming months, right? So in the meantime, we're in this holding pattern, right? And also something that relates to Bitcoin is there is a huge 1 billion options expiration that's coming up on Friday. So that obviously plays into it. And it seems like every week now we do have somewhat of a bigger options expirations. But traditionally speaking, the last Friday of every month, that is the big one to watch out for, right? And yes, the 26th, which happens to be the day Powell is speaking, that is when we have the biggest one of this month. So we'll see what happens if Bitcoin's will get some movement due to this big options expirations, right? So that is also something to look forward to. Could be good, could be bad, could be nothing. Could be a nothing burger. So we will see. But in the meantime, overall today, pretty flat day. We did have a little bit of a recovery this morning. Right now we're flat, right? So it does seem like there's still some hesitation, right? Whenever there's a little fear, somehow that fear turns into major FUD and then people start panicking again. I can see in the chat someone saying, I don't know if he's kidding or not, 15K definitely coming. Another person saying 15K or lower. I don't know if you guys are trolling or just joking, but man, there's just so many people that all of a sudden with one day, like between one day to another, it's like, oh, bullish, now I'm bearish, right? If you're a long-term investor, you know that this happens all the time. We have up and down. We have bad news that comes out. We have unexpected news that comes out, right? So you gotta bear through it. This is a price of admission to crypto, okay? Volatility, and you gotta withstand it. All right, so before I get to some of the good stuff about Bitcoin and crypto, what else is going on? This is very good, very, very good. A lot of you guys may not put any weight to this, but this is definitely huge. Ray Dalio, one of the most respected men of Wall Street, okay? He is joining Cash App's campaign. It's more than that, though, okay? Ray Dalio very well-respected guy. Bridgewater Associates, one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, right? And he was a CEO. I think he's chairman now. But he was vocal about Bitcoin before. He didn't really believe in Bitcoin, even though he wasn't negative. He just didn't believe in it. But recently, he's been coming to and seeing the light about Bitcoin. And the fact that he's even doing this with Cash App means that he is turning pro. Not just staying on the sidelines, not just neutral. He's pro Bitcoin. There's no way Ray Dalio, someone like him, would be doing any kind of campaign with Cash App if he had any inclination that Bitcoin was not going to make it, or Bitcoin is, in his mind and many others, in other people's minds, that it could be shut down by the government, or it's not a good store of value, it's not a hedge against inflation, all these things, right? But the fact that he is actually working with Cash App, that's a tremendous thing. To me, it shows that he's coming around. And it's not just him. There's so many others that are coming around, paying attention, and honestly looking at what's the alternative, right? You can't just have a boatload of cash. You can't just buy bonds. Neither one hedges against inflation. Well, what else can you buy? Gold? Is gold hedging against inflation? No, it hasn't moved in 12 years. So not gold. What else can you buy? Treasury bonds? No, I already said that, so that's a repeat. But yeah, what else to buy is Bitcoin and crypto, right? So I think this is pretty big, although I think most people are just like, so what? But I do think if he's turning around and he's getting into Bitcoin and crypto, other people will pay attention. They definitely will. All right, so there's that. That's very good. What else is good? As for Coinbase, Coinbase says they have ongoing plans to cut costs and actively engage with regulators. Business as usual, right? Again, Coinbase made a ton of money in 2021, kind of struggling in 2022, but I think their demise is greatly exaggerated. There's a lot of people spreading FUD about Coinbase now, whether or not they're going to become insolvent, whether or not they're going to be shut down by the SEC, right? All these things. I think none of those things are going to happen. They will probably work with SEC. We know that Gary Gensler wants total control. Basically, if he can compel Coinbase to comply with whatever he's looking for, then he can compel any exchange, right? So there's an ongoing battle, really, with crypto and Gary Gensler, but that's a whole other story. But we have that, and then we also have, of course, Coinbase. They're a titan. They just partnered up with BlackRock. They still have their custody service, and they're still rolling out more features to the Coinbase app, and still, growing. So even though they're kind of struggling, but they're still moving forward. And here's something else that they're offering. So if you have a Coinbase account, you get to claim a ENS address. So basically it becomes like your wallet address. It's easier to remember. You could claim .cb or .ie, not .eth, but CB for Coinbase and ID. So they are working with ENS to get people a free NFT crypto domain, right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You can receive it absolutely free if you are a Coinbase member. Now, what else is there? As for other exchanges like Binance, Binance is not sitting idle. There's no talk about Binance cutting costs or laying people off or having really any financial trouble. In fact, they are growing. They just partnered up with MasterCard, and this is just for Argentina, but they plan on launching elsewhere. They will be launching a MasterCard so that people can utilize crypto across MasterCard's entire network. So if you want to spend your crypto at a local store, retailer, restaurant, supermarket, you can, right? And they will grow this as time goes on. So that's very, very, very positive. Also, what's positive is if you are a Binance user, well, you get free trading. They just announced today that they are launching zero-fee ETH trading. So a lot of you guys are trading ETH. And they already announced zero-fee Bitcoin trading. and 0 fee USD stablecoin pairs, and 0 fee for BUSD pairs, at least 4 of them, right? So they continue to add 0 fee trading, right, to basically entice people to utilize it more. So another reason why you should be on Binance if you are not on Binance. And that's the main Binance. But if you're on Binance.us, which is really my favorite go-to exchange, they also offer 0 fee Bitcoin trading. So these are fantastic things for Binance. And it's only going to help BNB over long haul, because BNB is the kind of the currency for Binance with their chain, with their exchanges, and all these other stuff that's happening. So that's good for Binance. What else is there? Well, as for Bitcoin, this is interesting from a technical perspective. Having a triple bottom, we hear a lot about double bottoms, double tops, but we could be facing a triple bottom situation, right? And usually that means good things are going to come afterwards. So we will definitely see if this is the case. But you guys know I'm bullish on Bitcoin. I just got done saying Ray Dalio is coming into this space. Adoption is growing by leaps and bounds. Holders are growing. Addresses are growing. Number of buyers, keep growing. There's so much good things about Bitcoin. I don't think I need to show every single metric, every single stream. But you guys get the picture. Even though Bitcoin maybe down a little bit, it's not down and out, and it's certainly going to recover and get back up and head higher. So you just have to be patient. Now, what else is there? There's other things about projects. For example, Avalanche. Avalanche's biggest DEX, Trader Joe, is launching something new called Liquidity Pool that will improve capital efficiency. It will decrease impermanent loss, and it hopes to get rid of it altogether, and just basically increase liquidity overall, so that permanent loss and also the fees are basically eliminated. Okay, so there's a lot of good things that's coming, and of course Avalanche itself, I've been telling you guys, they're pretty healthy. They have a lot of things going on. If you look at, I don't know what transpired this, but if you look at a daily transaction count, it just went up to the moon. It shot up recently, right? Quite tremendously. So a lot of dApps coming on board to Avalanche. So one of my favorite L1s out there. All right. Now, besides Avalanche, big news with Atom. Atom has been moving up a lot recently, and I was wondering why. I like Atom. I love it as an L1, but I couldn't find a reason why they kept going up. And even today, they're up, a good 4%, and they're moving up the chart. And I finally figured out why. It's because you have a big, big endorsement from VanEck. VanEck actually came out with this not too long ago, why we're bullish on Atom. And I'm really surprised that VanEck would actually come out with like a whole post about why they're so bullish on Atom. And they also say we have a position in Atom too, right? So they talk about how it's a layer 0, and there's a lot of cross-bridging, native cross-bridging, right? And overall, the growing ecosystem. So that's probably the reason why they started going up, because this is a big endorsement. Actually quite surprised to see him have this. So that's pretty good overall. Though, Atom, I got to say, just a side note, they were affected greatly by Terra's collapse, because Terra was built on Cosmos SDK. They're within, right? Osmosis, which is the biggest DEX within Cosmos, also suffered because they had a lot of liquidity pairs with Terra and with UST, right? But they're coming back, trying to recover from that. So glad to see them do that. New member, Jeremy, welcome. Ivan is asking about Compound. It was listed by Robinhood some time ago. Robinhood is adding a lot of DeFi projects. So it kind of makes sense, because right now CeFi is not doing good. DeFi, people are turning to it. So you have like Compound, Aave, Uniswap, Lido. They're all doing well right now. So I think it's because Robinhood wants to cater to the users, and they're definitely craving DeFi more these days. Compound overall, it's like a decentralized lending, staking project. I think they're one of the good ones out there. So hopefully that helps. What else is there? Polygon. Polygon just posted this. People are wondering. I've been asked many times, like, what happens to Matic or what happens to Polygon after Ethereum moves to proof of stake? Nothing happens. It's not like the need for L2s just go away. No, it doesn't. Ethereum's merge, their move to proof of stake, does not solve their scalability issues. Not one bit. Not at all. They're going to need some time to scale, to implement some other solution, right? But most likely they're going to turn to a layer 2 solution, such as Polygon. So Polygon is going to do just fine. They have a ton of dApps. I think over 40,000 last time they reported. A ton of NFT projects, a ton of brands coming board. Of course, they partnered with Disney, right? So there's a lot of good stuff about Polygon, but they basically answered in here. They're not going to go away. So that's pretty good. What else is there? Lastly, let's talk about Cardano. I did mention this morning, but there seems to be more and more nodes turning to 135.3, which is the code for Vassal. So once you get up to 75%, that's when the hard fork is going to happen. This morning it was like 33% or 35%. So it's going up very, very quickly. After Charles ranted on Twitter and did a couple of videos, people have paid attention. They trust what he's saying. Basically, 135.3 has been validated, has been tested in the real world. It's running on the main chain. It's running on nodes. No problems whatsoever. So there are a lot of SPOs, a lot of pools that are upgrading. And it's coming, guys. It's coming soon. Probably this time next month, maybe a little bit sooner. It will come. And I'm still working on getting my Cardano pool going. So I'm hoping most of you guys watching will join it. I'm trying to get all the guides and everything ready so there's no difficulties, right? So I'm trying to get that going as well. All right, guys, that is pretty much it. You know what? Bitcoin coming up a little bit this week. Probably not a whole lot of movement because of what what Powell's going to say, but who knows? Who knows? I guess we'll have to see. All right, let's do some Q&A. Oh, by the way, I just noticed Bitcoin dominance went down even more. This morning was right flat at 40%. Now it's at 39.8. Haven't seen that in a while. Bitcoin having a dominance under 40%. Interesting. All right, let's do some Q&A. Jan, you're asking an interesting question. Why can't we have deflation where goods become cheaper? Sure, goods could become cheaper, but over time they will get more expensive because there will be inflation. The reason why goods have not come down is because there's still a lot of issues. Everything I've been talking about. There's still energy issues. Energy is still high. Gas is high. Oil is high. Supply chain issues. China is still having difficulties getting their economy back up, and China is producing most of the goods out there. Labor force, even though it's strong, there's still many places that can't fill their jobs. And because of that, they have to increase rates. They have to increase prices. If they get the commodities they have to order, let's say metals, aluminum, whatever, if they're higher in price, well, then they have to raise the price on whatever they're producing. This is the reason why right now inflation is going up and not going down. But, over time, the artificial inflation that we're seeing will come down, but goods will never get cheaper. They will only get more expensive. Little Sip 55. I have money locked on Voyager. I made a lot of trades in between. Do you think I have to pay tax on the money I don't have access to? That's a good question. That's a question for your CPA, because technically you could claim it as a loss because there was a Canadian pension fund that just wrote off everything they had on Voyager. So they're claiming it as zero, right? So what you can do, and this is not tax advice, ask your CPA or accountant, but what I think you could do is basically claim it as a total loss, and if you recover anything, then you recount that as income. So something like that. Again, that's not tax advice. Go ask your accountant for that. Let's see. Why do you think Bitcoin dominance is so low in this bear market? It's not like previous markets. No, it's not. And I hate to say it, it's because altcoins are very, very strong. There are Bitcoin maxis that won't let this go. And they're completely wrong about it. They're like, oh, you know, Bitcoin's not going to pump until all the altcoins die. Guess what? They're not going to die. Because guys like Ethereum and BNB and Cardano and Solana and Polkadot and all these guys, they have basically reached critical mass. Okay, I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but they have gotten so big, there's so many holders, the ecosystem have gotten to a point where it's sustainable, like DeFi, even though there's vulnerabilities, there's hacks, there's rug pulls, and there's ones that shut down, yes, but overall, there's a lot of working products out there that people use daily. Just look at how many people use liquidity pools, how many people use DEXs, right? It's way more than before. In 2017, 2018, even though they existed, no one used them because there was no liquidity in there. That's different. You have over 100 billion locked into TVL, right, within the DeFi ecosystem. So because of those things, that's why Bitcoin dominance is low. Can Bitcoin dominance climb back up? Sure. If we have a tremendous Bitcoin pump, we haven't seen one in quite some time, but I'm sure we'll see it again. Bitcoin dominance could come back up. But do I think Bitcoin dominance will ever go back to like 70% or 75% or 80% like before? I just don't think so. Unless, asterisk, Gary Gensler comes in and declares everything a security and then just shuts everything down. Maybe in that case, yes, Bitcoin will come back up. But if that's not the case, I think the whole system will continue to thrive and grow, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. So much fear in the chat. Yeah, I don't know where the fear came from. So that's why I was saying in the beginning. It's like one day everyone's bullish and then another day everyone's bearish. How do you find a project that has changed its ticker? I don't know. Usually on CMC it will tell you, or CoinGecko will tell you, or you go to the project Twitter's page or their blog. They should tell you what's the new ticker or new symbol. How do you decide for rug pulls and scams, BTC maxing now? I don't know. Like, you mean after the fact or before the fact? I mean, before the fact, it's hard, right? Anyone could pull a scam and make the project look legit beforehand, right? But there are legitimate rug pulls and scams, and there's accidental ones, okay? So a lot of people will say, oh, Terra's a scam, right? That was not intentional, but it turned out that the system that created collapsed, right? So that's not a scam. But there's many projects that will come out and basically open up for like a month, and then all of a sudden rug pull and take everything out. They just withdraw all the liquidity and shut down, right? That's an actual scam. So it's hard to say with a lot of these new projects. So that's why I tend to stay away from the really small projects because of that. Also, I think team is important, even though a lot of people in the space like to stay anonymous and they think that's okay. But, you know, for me, I still prefer to see some seasoned guys leading the team, guys have done something in the past, right? Kind of gives you a little reassurance there. But outside of those things, you know, really, you just got to pay attention to the project. You got to see if, you you know, they continue to execute. A lot of them put their code out so you can scan the code yourself. I'm not a programmer, but many people look for stuff like that. And really just, you got to follow them for a long time to see. Chainlink and SmartCon event with Google, I think is a big nothing burger. A lot of projects say they partner with Google, but what they really mean is Google Cloud is just acting like a node for them, and that's it. That's the extent of the partnership. So are they really going to do something with Google, or are they just going to be in Google Cloud? I don't know. We'll see. Gary has said his wife is a scary. CJ, I'm glad you're back from vacation with the family, and now you're going to your girlfriend. Okay, I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Okay, but anyways, I'm glad you're tuning in, and I'm glad your girlfriend has missed me as well. Rancid, thank you. Your message was retracted. If Gary decides alts as securities, what would BTC's price be? 1.75 million in a matter of weeks? No, it wouldn't. It would be bad. You know, a lot of people, even though, let's just say hypothetically, every crypto is deemed a security. First of all, that doesn't mean they all shut down. No, it just means that they have to comply with SEC regulations, and there's a lot of stuff that they have to do, but it doesn't mean they just shut down. And let's just assume all crypto projects shut down. Just everything goes away, right? You look at the crypto overall, crypto global market cap is about 1 trillion, right? So you look at Bitcoin's market cap, 400 billion. So what? 2.5x, right? So let's just say you took all the money out there and you put it into here. The most it could go up to is like 2.5x, right? At its current stage. So Bitcoin will probably be like 40 or 50,000. It won't go up to 1.75 million like in a matter of weeks. No, it won't. Can U.S. ban Bitcoin mining? Certain states, you know, they didn't ban Bitcoin mining, but I think they're just taxing the hell out of them. So that's why some states are more open, you know, they're more friendly. A lot of miners will move to them because of that. Like, for example, Texas is very open to Bitcoin miners. So a lot of miners and their farms are within Texas now. So it just depends on the state. Some people trying to be millionaires overnight. Jesse, that's exactly right. I mean, you can't fault them, right? I mean, crypto, what drew most people to crypto are the insane pumps, right? You see something like Shiba pump and made people millionaires, like literally within a week or two, right? And then they tell their friends and they tell their friends and everyone tells their friends. That's how you get tremendous FOMO in. A lot of people get drawn in because they want to be an instant millionaire, but they don't. Those people haven't lived through a downtrend. They haven't lived through what we have lived through, right? So a lot of people get in, get out. They're like, screw that. I don't have the patience for it, right? So I understand. But a lot of people that come into the space, you know, they start learning. They may start out with meme coins, but then they start looking at, okay, what's the big deal about Bitcoin? What's the big deal about Ethereum, right? And they start learning, and then they stay after they truly understand, right? So despite the fact we have up and downs, and we have a lot of retail come in and out, but every cycle that we go through, more and more people stay, and the ecosystem gets bigger every single time. That's why prices continue to go up every single cycle and keeps going upwards, right? So I don't know. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but hopefully that made sense. Rancid. Okay. I won't disagree with you there, but don't sound like a old man shouting at everything else. The pain brings character. I made majority of my money through nasty bear markets. Patience is key. That is exactly right. Anyone that made any money through investing, they made it by buying low and selling high, right? And the ones that are truly wealthy, the multimillionaires, the billionaires out there, right? Like Ray Dalio, what did they do? They just took advantage of bear markets and corrections. They bought when everyone else was panicking and out. They bought heavily, and when things recovered, they 10x'd or 100x'd their money. I mean, honestly, ask any of these wealthy billionaires, they'll all tell you the same thing. It wasn't luck. It was all due to patience and buying low when others were panicking, right? It's no different with crypto. The exception is, crypto moves much faster, so you tend to see some wild swings, way more to equities and way more than anything else. But it goes both ways. You can have wild swings downwards, but then if you take advantage, and then we get these wild swings upwards, that's when you benefit. And you benefit much more, much faster than any other investment out there. Ray Dalio and Jamie Dimon created a panic so they could buy low. I don't know about Jamie Dimon. I don't know if he spread panic recently. He's not in the headlines. I think he's sitting back and counting his money these days. Lionheart says, I'm an official whole coiner. Unfortunately, you spam too much. So YouTube hid your comment. But congratulations. Becoming a whole coiner is very impressive. Very impressive indeed. Extreme fear on the fear and greed index. I have no doubt. I mean, just looking at some of the people in this chat, somehow they just turn ultra bearish for some reason. We have headwinds. Of course, we have headwinds. I talk about it every morning. Sometimes I talk about it at night too, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in Europe. A lot of stuff going on now. There's like scare in China again because the banks are lowering rates, right? There's still a lot of macro stuff going on. But you got to think, Bitcoin is an entire market is doing fantastic despite what's going on. To put things in perspective, you just look at what happened during the COVID crash in March of 2020. Bitcoin was below $4,000 at one point, and Ethereum was below $100 at one point. And if you look at that versus now, then you come to a conclusion. Things are actually doing pretty well. The market is holding well despite all these terrible things going on around the world, right? And in the U.S. So that's the best way to look at it. And the other way to look at it is, well, while things are down, while we are hovering and going sideways, like some of the previous bottoms we have seen for Bitcoin, this is the time to take advantage and DCA. DCA as much as you can, because when we come up, that's how you make your money, right? So that's how I see it. Let's see. Am I a fan of Michael Kong? I have no idea who Michael Kong is. No idea. I think the low, someone said, Wolf Capital says, I think the lows are in, but I think a double bottom is in the cards. Some technical analysts have said that we have to test 17K again before we could truly recover. I take those analysis with a grain of salt because when it comes to crypto, yes, short term, I think sometimes Bitcoin does follow some of these patterns and indicators, but we got to look at the bigger picture, right? At any given moment, you could have a huge buy, you have a huge sell. There's a lot of macro stuff. War breaks out of nowhere, right? There's a lot of stuff that you can't anticipate. So that's why a lot of these indicators that say, well, something must happen before this happens. It could happen, it cannot. So just like this one I showed, which is talking about triple bottom, right? Triple bottom with the highest trading volume since November 2021, right? So does this mean that Bitcoin is about to rally upward just like the 2 previous times? Yes, it could. It could. But again, we're facing a lot of headwinds right now. So maybe we just hover here for a little bit. Maybe we hover here for a long time, just like 2018's bottom. 2018's bottom, we hovered there for months. In fact, if I recall correctly, it was like 4 or 5 months before we broke out of the bottom, right? So could we be in that same situation? So take a look at this. This is 2018's bottom, right? So let's just look at the timeline real quick. Date range. So if you go from like, I don't know, from the initial drop, I guess, to the pump, that was 139 days. How many months is that? That's 4 months? 5 months? 4.5 months? Right? So, yeah, we had volatility. I remember those times. You know, when you zoom in, you realize, yeah, we had some crazy up and downs, right? Like when we first hit 3,100, we went up to 4,200. Then we went all the way back to 3,300. I mean, people were just getting very, very discouraged. But since that point on, well, you see, it kept going, right? But when you're living that moment, 4 months seem like 4 years. It's eternity, right? So we had that in 2021. We're here for months, and it felt like eternity, right? So now we're coming up, and it's only been 1 month or so. We could see some more volatility up and down for like 3 more months, and then towards the end of the year, maybe November, December, or January, then we see a good recovery, right? So we have seen this before where you're recovering from bottom, and it takes a long time. It's not just a V-shaped recovery. It's always like that. Jose, your Cardano pool, make it if you hold NFTs, cheaper percentage. I don't know what that means exactly. I would like to do something with NFTs, but it's kind of difficult. I'm still trying to build out that site I've been promising, but finding a good developer to do it, I don't know. It's tough. It just keeps, keep getting delayed, and the people that were working on it, they just bailed on me, so I don't know what's going on. How can we make the bear market more fun? I don't know. Do other stuff. I don't know. Take your mind off of what's going on, right? Continue to DCA, but maybe not check your portfolio every 5 seconds like you're doing, right? Maybe concentrate on some other stuff. Maybe hang out with your kids more. There's an idea. Or maybe help your wife more around the house, your spouse around the house more. I don't know. That's up to you. But I do know this. After this stream, if you guys are interested, I am on my I Am George channel, right? I've been posting videos about, some of the stuff going on in my life and so forth, right? But I plan on starting a new exciting series about my new home that I'm about to build. I just recorded one, kind of give you like a prequel of what's to come and the site and some of the difficulties and stuff. So I will be posting that right after this stream. So if you guys are interested, check it out, because that is going to be a long series. It's going to take 12 to 15 months to build my house. So I'm going to document the whole thing all the way through. I think it'll be interesting and fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. But make sure you subscribe to that channel if you want to check it out. All right, guys. RN, thank you for that. Let's conclude. Overall, let's see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's DCA day, tomorrow night. But from tomorrow to Friday, I don't know if we're going to see some volatility. We got a big options expiration on Friday. We have a big press conference once again from Powell. So we'll see what happens. Maybe afterwards, the ceiling gets lifted. Bitcoin could come right back up again, right? But right now, there seems to be a lot of hesitation, a lot of fear again. I could sense it, and I could see it from the chat. But stay strong, my friends. Like I said, we have seen periods of time like this before. And we will get through this together. So smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure, go right up there. Go to CryptosRUs.com or utilize the links in this video and get all your latest news, article, and guides. Everything on CryptosRUs.com. All right? Have a good one, guys, and check out my other channel. I'm about to post that other video. All right, have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. Take care. Bye-bye.